Hi, everybody. Carl the Prado, A to Z Business IT. Hope you're having a great day today. Um, Thank you all for coming out here. This is our first live stream that we're doing through StreamYard. So we might have a couple technical difficulties through here, uh, but we'll work it through as we're going. Um, what was I going to say? Thank you again for coming here. Um, we're just going to take another 30 seconds or so just to prepare, just to prepare for everything here. Um, so we're based, just so you know, we're based out in New York. I hope you're having a great day. Sit back, relax. You might want to get a pen and paper, take some notes down here. And without any further hesitation, we're just going to get on with the show here. Okay, so, who am I? My name's Carl the Prado. I've had over 30 years of experience in cybersecurity and information technology. I serve as a member to the ASCII community, where I help other IT companies throughout the country implement best practices with cybersecurity. I'm an active member of a partnership with the New York Police Department SHIELD program, and I'm a husband and father of two. So what's our mission? Well, we really don't want to see small businesses go out of business. That's really what I get up in the morning for. And we're going to go through what the new reality is, unfortunately, of that. But what we do as a company is we help you organize your efforts to avoid financial losses. We make it easier for you to handle cybersecurity risk. And that makes your business stronger and helps you grow faster. It builds trust, which is a critical part of good protection. When you think about it, trust makes business relationships last and brings in the money and makes you more competitive in your market. So our motto is to secure, scale, and succeed. So quick thing for you to think about here is, what do Uber, CNA Insurance, LastPass, PayPal, United Healthcare, Intuit, MailChimp, T-Mobile, DocuSign, Dropbox, and the U.S. Post Office have in common? That's, first of all, a really long list, and it's only a small part of it. But they've all had their clients, their customers' personal information stolen from them. And how does that make you feel? I'm sure some of the people here who are listening to this, you are customers of these people. And these are pretty big companies. You really don't have a choice with who you're working with. I mean, we say we don't have monopolies, but the U.S. Post Office, we really don't have a choice if we want to send a letter under $1. And so, but for a lot of our services, would you prefer to do business with a company that sends you a letter telling you that you've been hacked, or with a company that's actively showing a commitment to data security and a proven track record of preserving, their clients' information? So for most people, the second part is a no-brainer. Matter of fact, people will pay a little bit more to make sure that their data is protected because it's so expensive. If you're upset now about possibly being named being in one of those breaches, by the way, my information got pulled into the T-Mobile one. So that probably gets you a little annoyed, at the least. It may not be a big deal to you, but for some people it could be. But imagine what your customers might feel if they thought it was your fault. So targeting your business right now, just to put a new reality, is actually worth more to cartels than the drug trade. Let's repeat that again. Targeting your businesses is worth more to cartels than the drug trade. 2023, last year, it was $11 trillion. And in the next 2.5 years, it's expected to raise to $20 trillion. And it's much more profitable, much safer, much cleaner business for cartels than the drug trade ever was. So, one of the things that we talk about here is you're not too small to get hacked. You're just too small to make the nightly news. So if you think about it, the news is looking for unique stories, and cybercrime is so common now, it's not newsworthy anymore. And the only times that it becomes newsworthy is if it's one of these big companies that we've talked about, like a T-Mobile or the U.S. Post Office or an Uber, or it is something very unique or somebody who is a celebrity. But the cyber criminals don't limit themselves to just those markets, unfortunately. So what are the 5 top things that they take? What they're looking for is financial identity theft, medical identity theft, taking somebody's what was I going to say, insurance information, criminal identity, taking somebody's information in order to commit a crime, synthetic. When you look at some of the people who are getting catfished on Facebook, for those who don't know, catfishing means that you have a false identity. And we're seeing this more with AI, or they're using real people's information and they're creating, they may have taken over a suspended account, or, and that's one of the ways they create it synthetically. Child identity theft is also probably one of the more horrific ones I can think of, where a child, before they even know how to use credit, since we're all issued Social Security numbers now in the United States at birth, you have this record, and people are taking that those identities, and they are taking out loans and whatnot in the child's name. And unfortunately, most people won't realize that until the time that they can actually use their credit. So, wanted to share with you what a cyber criminal looks like. This here is from this guy had just gotten captured back in January of this year. He is out of the Netherlands, and what he was doing was he took over the Eastern Europe's version of BetterHelp, and he went ahead and attacked and seized their data. Now, that company went out of business because of the cyber breach. They were a very profitable company, but because of this breach, they closed their doors. He actually decided to go after the individuals who were seeking mental health treatment and try to extort them for about 300 euros a piece. They finally caught him. They extradited him out of France. He had already had a long criminal record as far as calling in bomb threats and other things. It was 500 pounds. But, wanted to show you that these guys are not really using the technology. They're just basically criminals at the end of the day. And they're looking to take that technology, and it's just another way for them to help them commit crimes. And really nobody's businesses are secured. I mean, the New York Bar Association just had 27,000 of their members. All of their data was taken off the network. They were, well, not taken, but they copied all of that data. They exfiltrated it. And the company, the group that did this, I said the word company because they act like firms, was a group called CLOP. It's a cybersecurity organization. They've been very successful. They were actually stopped. But some of the time what they go after in CLOP is they don't even look for money. They will just do it for political reasons. So in this particular case with the New York Bar Association, they proceeded to put all of the information up on the dark web. And still to this day, even though they were taken down as an organization, the data has been copied and recopied through servers throughout the world. And so you could still, if you know how to get to the dark web and where to look, you could still find members' driver's licenses and passport information, unfortunately. So I like movies. I just wanted to bring this as far as something we can all relate to. So great movie of the early 2000s was Ocean's 11, a remake of a movie from the 60s with Frank Sinatra. And in it, we've got the team has a very simple plan to rob the Bellagio, the Mirage, the MGM casinos on the same night during a boxing match. And they're going to use a variety of disguises and tricks to bypass the casino and security systems and steal the money. And we've got the mastermind, Danny Ocean. And we've got Rusty Ryan, the coordinator, played by Brad Pitt. Got Matt Damon thrown in here, cross-functional support. We've got an insider. And by the way, about 25% of all cyber crimes come from insider theft. And then we got some specialists, the technologists, some subject matter experts, and and we've got some other guys who can basically jack of all trades. The interesting thing about this is, like, if you think about the concern, it's a pretty deep organization, as far as talent is concerned and brain power. I've counted off here, about 10 different people here with unique specialized roles. And what do? They take all the money, they escape in the middle of the night. That's a movie. That really can't happen in real life, can it? Well, earlier this last summer, we had a real Ocean's 11 back in 2023. Caesars and the MGA were both attacked. And Caesars, what was I going to say? One of the groups paid the ransom, the other one didn't. So it's believed that the ransom was paid for about $15 million. I do believe it was Caesars. And the group that did this was a group of rascally teens between the ages of 19 and 20. Those little scamps. And it's a group that's still in existence, called currently, as far as we know, called Scattered Spider. And what they do is they'll go and they'll start looking through LinkedIn, Facebook, LinkedIn corporate pages. And that's one of their MOs. I'm sure they use other ones. But in this particular case, they would start going through company pages, and they would proceed to find somebody. They would call their help desk, say, hey, I need my passwords reset. They might have a recording of a baby in the background, something, urgency, creating some type of chaos. And they would get the credentials, take about 15 minutes. Another group that was very big last 6 months ago and has just exited the scene is a group called Black Hat Alpha. Don't worry, they have replacements, so if you need their services, they're still available. The bad guys aren't skipping a beat. But what they would do, what Black Cat did, is they said, all right, well, you $15 million, we're going to split it. And so what they did was they put the software in to go ahead and take everything down. So what were they able to do with the company that didn't go? And I believe it's the MGM Grand who decided not to pay the ransom. It was 90 properties that were shut down. Overall, 6 terabytes of data. I'm sorry, was reported, not 66 terabytes. Still quite a lot. They estimated, and when we're talking about shutting them down, they shut down the hotel. They shut down the restaurants. People couldn't exit and enter. They shut down the elevators over all their properties. They basically froze them out for 10 days. Estimated about $25 million a day for that. On top of that cost of just operations, they had to rip and replace all of their computers, from HVAC, lighting. Even the guys who paid the ransom, they still had to rip and replace all their equipment that was throughout their facilities. So it was pretty devastating to them. And, it's still something that's being talked about today. I mean, you're talking about, both companies had, millions of people there that were, part of their loyalty membership. But one of the things I always ask is, what is worse than losing a client? And that's having your client turn around to become your adversary in a lawsuit. And both operators face combined 9 federal lawsuits in the wake of this cyber attack. Basically, their charges for in their class action suits, and primarily what they're saying is that the board of directors decided not to spend the money on proper security measures and proper safeguards for their data, and instead pocketed that as profits to themselves. So they said, hey, when you put your data in, you business owner, have a responsibility to protect my data. I'm trusting you to do that. That's a fiduciary responsibility. And there are lots of laws that do that, to protect individuals. But on top of that, they're going after them for civil matters. So, you as a business owner can imagine just having one of these, even a fraction of this type of lawsuit can really interfere with the day-to-day operations of most businesses. Maybe not yours, but I know a lot that could. So on top of this, I wanted to share with you some of the new technologies. Now, we were talking about this was a phone call that was done. Now the bad guys don't even need the phone call. I was in a meeting this morning, and one of the people there was talking about, Mardi Gras. I'm sorry, not Mardi Gras. How they went to was it the Kentucky Derby, and it fell on May the 4th, and we were joking about like the racing of the Darth Vaders, and so I just went into one of the open AI platforms. I forget if it was Meta AI or Chat GPT, and I said, hey, let's have Darth Vader, right there at the beginnings of the Kentucky Derby, or let's have him racing a race. And it was able to generate this in seconds in there and create this. And I think people are starting to see this now. This is one of the new things that OpenAI's program called Sora is putting out, which is they can create videos. And they haven't released this yet to the public, though there are some stuff that's out there. And just by putting together word sentences, they can create this image that, the model wasn't there, the cloud, none of that stuff was there. And they can do this. Well, how does that affect us in real life? Well, earlier this year in Hong Kong, we had a $25 million scam that was succeeded based on deep fakes, meaning that they were able to create, through AI, images that look pretty realistic. And they did it through a Zoom call, but the person who was on there didn't realize it wasn't just one person who was on the Zoom call. They had 6 people, including the target, the one who gave up the 25 million. The other 5 were all basically deep fake artificial videos that were going off at the same time. Five different feeds coming in at the same time to this one individual, all looking relatively legitimate, making it very hard for him, obviously impossible for him to figure out who was who. And so that's some of the new technology that we're seeing out here is this deep fake technology. It's getting more and more powerful. ChatGPT has just announced GPT 4.40, and we're just starting to wrap our heads around how the bad guys are going to start to learn how to weaponize that. And it will be weaponized. So we've gone through some really depressing things. The reason we came in here to talk in the first place was, well, what can I do to protect my business? And so what we believe, and we know industry best standards, if, depending on, even if you have, regardless of whether you have a robust cybersecurity, or you're just starting to wake up and say, this might be an issue that I need to address. The first step you should be doing is a cybersecurity risk assessment. And so what that does is it helps identify and prioritize risk, find out exactly where you're weak at and focus your resources on the most pressing issues. It creates a blueprint. It helps protect your assets that, you're going to look at what's the most valuable stuff, what financial losses, reputational damages, legal vulnerabilities, and you're going to start to take steps to prevent that. And it helps you comply with regulations, whether it's HIPAA or FTC safeguards, PCI DSS, NIST, CMMC, any of those things. You need to know what those regulations are and how in alignment are you with those regulations, and it helps you improve your efficiency. So, a quick way to waste money building a house is not to have a blueprint, just to do it from scratch. And so what a cybersecurity risk assessment really does is helps you to identify all the things that are coming up and start to take action along the lines of that plan. When you talk, it protects the people. We're looking at it helps the most important things. The most important asset in your business is the people that you're working with, not including your employees and your clients. We looked at it protects the processes and grow your company, and protect the technology, and protect the data that's in there. So those are the four places we're looking at it: people, processes, technology, and the data that's in those technologies and the other two. So protecting the people. 90%, unfortunately, of cyber breaches are due to human error. Somebody clicks on the wrong thing. Somebody, gets tricked. When you keep in mind with cyber criminals, when we go back and we do a triage and you look at how somebody's tricked, you go, first human nature is, I would never fall for that. I'll share a quick story. I was doing a cybersecurity awareness training, and one of the people on the training said my husband wrote the definitive book on cybersecurity. I was like, wow, that's very impressive. My next question to the group, not to her, was, has anybody been a victim of cyber fraud? And she immediately chimed in. She goes, yes, me and my husband. We had $20,000 stolen in a confidence scheme. Well, should give you a little chuckle. But if somebody whose life's work and is internationally recognized as an expert in cybersecurity can fall for a scam on the right day at the right time, I hate to say it, almost everybody can, and that's why it's so darn effective. So part of our weaknesses is our pride that, yeah, I wouldn't get tricked. I'm too smart, and that's one of the things that the criminals are absolutely looking forward to. We protect the processes. We look to see what's going, how money comes in and out of your company, how information comes in and out of your company. And we look and see, because that's what the bad guy's going to do. And based on that, we can start to look at what are the weaknesses of those things. That can come down to your vendors. Like, think about it. You have probably a handful of vendors who help make it rain in your business. And when I mean rain, bring in the money. And what would happen if one of those vendors sent you an email that you later found out was fake? Maybe asking you for money, maybe saying that saying that they need a donation. That was fake. That was truly a fake email. Wouldn't that give you pause? Could that create great disruption inside of your company? So this is part of the process that goes through. It's not just looking at the people internal to yourself, but also externally. The technologies. Well, here's the sad factor, and sometimes I do have to give sad news. 60% of small businesses close within 6 months of a data breach. As a matter of fact, it's even worse if you've lost access to your data for over 10 days. It's 93% of businesses will close within the year. So, making sure that your technology is properly secured, is one of the most critical things that you're going to do. If you think about it, if I'm a bad guy, what am I going to look at? Well, first I'm going to look at your people. Maybe I'll send a bad email or something with the wrong link. If I can get password credentials, then maybe I'll find a way to get into your business line of applications, whether that is it could be your QuickBooks Online, it could be your Dropbox, it could be a corporate, CRM, any of those things. That's what I'm going to be looking for. And that's some of the stuff that you need to make sure it's evaluated. Is it secure, even if somebody gets information that, as far as an email account and credentials? Could that, what would that do to your business? And then protecting the data. We just had a breach locally in my town. My kids' school district, a couple of high schoolers got breached. And the school district actually did the right things. They notified everybody immediately, said, hey, we got some bad mail that came in. They tried, one of the students went ahead and clicked an online form and, started to put their bank information in. And what they proceeded to do to minimize the blast radius was, one, they started to notify all the parents. And they said, hey, check your bank accounts. Make sure your passwords are secure. Make sure you have MFA on everything, on that account. Make two-factor authentication. If you don't understand that, that might give you pause right there. Check your records, continually monitor. Those were all solid things. A question was, did they have spam filtering? Did the other parts are, maybe they should have trained the students a little bit as well. But the other thing that came up was, well, what about if somebody's teacher's credentials came in and they had the social security numbers, access to kids' social security numbers? And the school district had divulged, no, that's not appropriate. They have no reason for that data, which makes perfect sense. Now teachers do need access to birthdays, but they don't need access to children's social security numbers. Guidance counselors might have a reason. School nurse might need that. Internal administrators might have a reason. And for those, you need to make sure that you're really closely monitoring those particular accounts, because those are high value accounts because of the access that they would have. Same question for you in your business. Do you know where all of your clients' personally identifiable information resides? Do you know if it's, what do I mean by that? Do you know where their social security numbers reside for clients if you're taking in credit apps or credit cards or wire transfers or medical information for your staff? If you're, as far as maybe you take a copy of their health records. So, not their health records, but their applications for their insurance forms. So all of that information, you should know where it is, and you should be able to know that it's being secured correctly. And by the way, the bad guy, when they go in, and this is why they'll take their time, average breach lasts anywhere before people recognize it, somewhere between 6 to 9 months, is they're doing that. Once they're in the systems, they're doing their research. They're going through that, and they're looking for all the weaknesses as far as any data that they can sell before they even ransom. So the way the process works for us is we'll start with a cybersecurity session. We'll go through, we'll get to know the business a little bit more. This takes about 30 days as far as the process goes. Questionnaires to key individuals. We'll start to test out the environment. We'll basically act as as we will basically do the job of a cyber criminal that you've hired to really check and make sure that all your systems are up to snuff. At that point, we will generate what we call a risk assessment, and we'll present our findings to the key stakeholders of the company. And from there, we can start to begin to take a course of action. So, here's some of the thing. Here's the thing, though. You may be sitting back going, well, I have cyber insurance. I am sure that if I get breached, I'll get covered. Well, here's a couple of things that come in here with that. One, you get a questionnaire every year if you have cyber insurance, and they're going to go through that and make sure that they're going to go through and say, hey, did you have all of these things in place? Most people, when they see that, if you're not working in technology, really don't understand them. But what they're doing is the best case if you need all of these particular items in place. And so they may hand it over to their IT department or to their IT guy. Maybe they have a guy that comes by once a month. They call him up when they have a problem, and they take care of him. So when they do that, they may not know exactly what's going on throughout the process. So what happens is, if the claim is made, the insurance company is looking and saying, okay, did you filed out this document, and we're going to go back and check and make sure you did everything properly. And last year, Travelers had a case in Illinois with Controlled Instruments, where they had bought a policy in April of that year. May they got a breach literally less than 30 days in. Travelers said, no, we're not paying that because we went by, you signed it, you had a document that said that you had MFA on everything, and you had servers that did not have MFA properly applied. Again, that means multi-factor authentication. It's a form of a security protocol. They said you didn't apply it to everything correctly. And because of that, we're not going to pay you. This was I think it was a $1.5 million claim that they'd put out. And Controlled Instruments took them to court. It was dismissed by July. It was thrown out. It was that quick as far as the process was concerned. And the reason why is this happening? Well, about a year and a half ago, insurance companies collected for the year of 2022. They collected $7 billion in premiums. That sounds like quite a lot of money. I consider it a bit of money. But the problem was that they paid out almost $25 billion in policies. Well, insurance companies, every company is in the business of making sure that their profits are going in a positive way, not in a detrimental, negative light. And so what happens when it gets too expensive, when they're paying out too many premiums? Well, they put the brakes on it. A couple of ways they did that. One, they start denying people the ability to apply for insurance. Two, they raise the rates. They make it much more expensive. Three, they'll go back and they will look at the ability of did they fill out all the paperwork correctly as far as the application is concerned, and find reasons to deny the claim. And so that's what we're seeing more and more of. So one of the things that we'll do is with the CSRA is you'll look at that. If you're deciding that your business should have cyber insurance, and for most businesses that is a very good idea to have, we'll help you make sure that you can get it, and that through a cybersecurity risk assessment, that you will be able to get it possibly at the best possible rates, based on your current situation. Because we're going to make sure, the cybersecurity program is going to match what the insurance company is looking for. And the reason that they're making these policies much stricter is they need to control the risk. And they know if a company has all of these things put in place that they require, and they've gone from a one-pager now to 8 to 10 pages of requirements. And the reason for that is, if they have those controls in place, the chances of them making a claim go down dramatically. And so by having all your ducks in a row, you can really dramatically reduce it somewhere in the 90 percentile as far as that's concerned. So where do we go from here? I mean, obviously you can try to piece it all together. You can do this. You can talk to your internal IT department. You can spend some time, months trying to do it yourself. And then the scary part as a business owner is after you spent all this internal time and money, you still might miss the high risk vulnerabilities. Or the saner, smarter thing to do is to partner with a qualified team of professionals. And this is what we live for. We breathe and we dream about this stuff, cybersecurity. And we want to help you with it. We want to make it as easy for you as snapping your fingers. And, through a process, we can definitely help you do that and simplify it. Can't make it go away, but we can definitely make it infinitely easier. So what's it like to work with us? Well, we really work on an intimate basis. Our best clients tend to be anywhere from 5 to 30 people, mostly in the financial services. Our mission is we don't want to see businesses go out of business. Like I said, security is an asset. It's not an expense. And applied correctly, it can really help you gain market share. But what we'll do is we can transform you from a company where you might have problems worrying about, did my employee click the wrong thing? Do I have everything intact? To where we can show you and demonstrate to you in a very clear, concrete way that everything is being checked off correctly and the work is being done in a very simple and prudent manner. So if you're ready, you can go ahead and book a cybersecurity strategy session. It's a 15-minute call. My website's right here. It's booking.a2zbusinessit.com. And in this, we're going to cover a few things. We're going to get to know you as a company. You're going to get to know us a little bit better. We're going to understand a little bit more of whether it really makes sense or not for you to go down this path. Even if it doesn't make sense, we're going to, we part as friends. Hopefully, you'll be able to take this information and some of the stuff that we'll give you. We'll also give, some of the things to look at. And, if you do want to do it yourself, we'll give you a cheat sheet for that as well. But you know, that's what we're going to end up doing at the end of the day. So if you're ready, if it makes sense for you, if you're having trouble sleeping at night, if you worry that everything you've built could be blown up because somebody clicks on the wrong thing, if we haven't even really discussed, as far as the compliance issues that can, straddle and hurt your business, you know, getting a book, getting a risk assessment is a pretty simple no-brainer. And you go, well, how often should I get them? Well, if you haven't had a real evaluation in the last year, the last 12 months, I'm not going to count it as a calendar. It's really good to take another look and make sure that everything is up to date and that you're secure. Because remember, the criminals don't proceed to say, well, you took an assessment 2 years ago, so we won't bother you anymore. If only we're that simple. So I thank you for your time. And again, it's booking.A to Z Business IT. I look forward to working with you guys and helping you. You guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Take care.